Is Shreya Dhanwantri and I'm in this film. I can't believe that. I can't believe I get to say that. Name, I'm pointing at the name. I still can't believe I get to say that and that this is my film, but about an army of 300 people are responsible for bringing a film together, all of whom believe in the magic of cinema. And tonight we're attempting to have a civilized conversation among people who make that magic and with people who inform us whether that magic is worth our while or not. And without further ado, I'd like to introduce Mr. Bharadwaj Rangan, who happens to be a passionate lover of cinema and a critic, to kick the rest of this evening off.
Yeah, so I have to thank Balki because he tells me I made a movie about critics being murdered and I think of you as the moderator, and that made me feel very special. So thanks, Balki, for this invitation. I'm going to call the others on the panel. I'm going to first call members of my fraternity. So we know where the lines are drawn. So yes, Sucharita Tyagi, Komal Nahta ji, and Anupama Chopra she's going to be here soon. I'm going to sit here so that I can see everybody.
Wait 1 minute.
Anyway, so maybe we should just mix it up and so everyone can.
So should we leave one spot?
Yeah.
You tell me, Badly.
Yeah, whatever. Yeah. So and among the filmmakers, Mr. Anish Bazmi and Rajan DK and. Alamkrita, is she here? Alamkrita Shrivastava? She's just coming. Okay, so 2 minutes. So, do we have enough chairs? Or?
This where filmmakers are taking on critics directly.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's exciting, super exciting.
Super exciting to kind of.
I'm always excited for every film because whichever film I go for, I go with the impression that it's going to be the biggest blockbuster of my career. So I'm excited, as excited about Chup as I am for any other film. Genuinely.
Right. So, in general, all of you, whether we are filmmakers, when we're growing up and we're watching movies, did you read film criticism that is appeared in the papers, reviews or whatever it is? Did you begin by that? Would you read that and see, what have they said about this particular movie? How many stars has this movie gotten? Was that a part of the growing up?
Now it is, but I don't think when I was growing up there were many film critics. Like, also grew up in Andhra Pradesh, so we were watching Telugu films. So whenever a Chiranjeevi film or any other star film came, that's all the motivation. You need to go watch it.
Right.
And if you didn't watch it on the first day or the first couple of days, and your friends tell you it's not good, that's probably when you stop watching it. But otherwise, you pretty much watch all the films.
Anupama is here. So
Yeah, I know. Anupama Chopra is making an entrance. She's making a point right now, everybody.
yeah.
Please note.
Yeah, she planned this. She wanted to.
My apologies.
Yes.
I am so sorry. This is so embarrassing. I'm never usually late. Badly, please go on.
Yes. No. Please go on.
No, so that's it. I mean, the whole concept of film critics is something that happened a little later, at least in my life.
Okay.
Like when I went to the States, that's when you start reading reviews, and then it was with papers. Then it became available on the internet. So now it's more handy, and now I think everybody on Twitter is a reviewer at this point.
Yeah, which kind of brings me to this thing that now that we have, word of mouth coming in through Twitter, what role do critics actually have to do? What do you have to say?
No, sorry. Okay. Shall I? Okay, no, I mean, my whole thing about a film reviewer is that a film reviewer is somebody first who loves films, who respects the process of filmmaking, and who's knowledgeable about films. I think these three things become important, right? So unfortunately, like on social media, everybody who has an opinion may not be coming from the right places. That's where you kind of end up looking at critics' reviews, or in some cases at some critics' reviews who you think, like over years, over many reviews, you think you've grown to respect their opinion, and you kind of, get swayed by that.
मुझे लगता है कि आज जो है इतने ज्यादा क्रिटिक्स हो गए हैं कि पहले ये था कि एक तो बहुत कम लोग थे और संडे 2-3 दिन पिक्चर के रिलीज हो जाते थे, उसके बाद ये उनके रिव्यूज आया करते थे। अभी ये है कि कमर्शियली मुझे लगता है बहुत ही नुकसान होता है फिल्मों को अगर खराब लिखा जाता है तो, या कम स्टार मिलते हैं। लेकिन अब धीरे धीरे वो, मुझे पर्सनली ऐसा लगता है कि वहां तक आ गया है कि अगर बहुत ज्यादा स्टार्स मिले हैं तो लोग शक से देखते हैं कि ये फिल्म ठीक नहीं होगी। ऐसा लगता है लोगों को, जो एक आम जनता है उनको लगता है अरे इस फिल्म के अंदर बहुत ज्यादा स्टार्स मिले हैं और ये फिल्म ठीक नहीं होगी। तो ये, और मुझे लगता है कि ये जो है जहां तक क्रिटिक्स हैं अगर सही तरह से क्रिटिसाइज कर रहे हैं फिल्म को तो दैट इज फाइन, बट उसको रोस्ट करना फिल्म को और फिल्म को एकदम कुछ अजीब कर देना और बड़ी अजीब सी लैंग्वेज में बहुत ही, तो वो मुझे लगता है कि शायद ठीक नहीं है। इसलिए कि ये तो सारी दुनिया जानती है, क्रिटिक भी जानती है कि एक फिल्म बनाने में कितना खून पसीना और मेहनत लगती है और बहुत ही खराब पिक्चर बनाने के लिए बहुत तकलीफों से सोचना पड़ता है। तो अच्छी फिल्म जो होती है उसके लिए बहुत ज्यादा लोग मेहनत करते हैं, काम करते हैं, और जब अपने काम के बारे में उनको ऐसा लगता है तो उनको लगता है कि शायद इन्होंने ये फिल्म नहीं देखी है जो हमने बनाई है, कोई और फिल्म की बात कर रहे हैं लोग।
Anu, you have something to add?
अरे जी, ये तो बहुत अक्सर you feel that हम में भी कि sometimes I am the only one who's loved a film. You know, so I think it's such a personal response. Yeah, I agree with you. There has to be. You can't roast. Finally, हम critics हैं, हम trolls नहीं हैं. You have to speak respectfully. But I feel like, Pankaj Tripathi ने एक बार कहा था कि film critics are like खाद, fertilizer. They help cinema grow. So I'm hoping that we do that.
Did you just calm down?
I did.
No, but I think Komal, when Brahmastra released, or before Brahmastra released, because you just said it is a personal opinion, right?
Yeah.
But you predicted that the film would do very well at a time that there were lots of doubts about the film and things like that. So do you think that it is possible for a critic to have like a finger on the audience's pulse, so to speak?
You know, here I'd like to say there is a difference between a critic and a film trade analyst. I am not a film critic. My job is to predict.
But you do write reviews though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there are film trade analysts who write reviews and there are critics who write reviews. Why I'm not a critic is, it's not a critic can say, I didn't like this, I loved this, I didn't like this is not good, this is not bad, and therefore the film didn't work for me.
Right.
We don't have that luxury. We don't say I. We say probably the public will like this, not like this, and that is why we predict figures. Like in the case of Brahmastra, I said the first weekend should be near about 100 crore. It touched 118. And I said the second, in my video review, I said the first week should stop at 165 crore or thereabouts. It stopped at 163 crore. And I said in 10 days it will touch the 200 crore mark. It went up to 201. So we specialize in that kind of this. And for that, it is necessary to have a pulse, a finger on the people's pulse. But for critics, I don't think that is necessary because, as Anupma very rightly said, it's such a personal opinion. But we ought to have, otherwise we are not fit for the job.
Right, but if every member of the audience has a personal opinion, how is it possible to have a finger on the pulse?
When we say it will do so much, we are talking about the large mass base.
Okay.
Every film has people who have loved it and people who have not liked it. People who have found it okay, people who have found it great, people who have found... So we talk about considering the budget and how many people may like it, may not like it. So on that basis we predict. And That is.
I have no
Yeah, that's
sense
what I'm
of
saying.
pulse.
No, that's what I'm saying. And a critic doesn't need that. Doesn't need to. So the sad part, I'll tell you one more thing. The sad part is 99% of the critics or 90% of the critics have become trade analysts. And I don't think they need to do that, because a critic is also doing his job or her job, but suddenly now everybody has started saying, I didn't like it and therefore the film won't run. But that is, Anupma doesn't do it. I'm just saying a lot of critics do it, which is not their job.
For me, you remember Sham Shroff, right? The wonderful distributor. He used to say, अगर तुम्हें picture अच्छी नहीं लगी, मुझे पता hit होने वाली है.
Indra Kumar says that about Shabana Azmi. Indra Kumar always says, मैं Shabana जी को first show में बुलाता हूँ, and when she comes out, Shabana जी कैसी लगी? बोलो खराब है, बोलो खराब है, बोलो खराब है. Shabana जी says horrible. ये मेरी film hit है.
Alakrita, please come up.
Yay!
Hello. I feel better. There's one person after.
So maybe this would be a good time to welcome you on stage and say, what do you think of critics?
And she's not unaware, she doesn't know what the others have said.
Yeah, no clue.
I think we need them. That's number one. And I think that, personally, what I feel is that when you immediately read something that a critic has written and you feel like, why are they saying that? And so I think immediately sometimes you feel like, oh my God, like why has somebody said this? But I think eventually it helps you later, because I think like some of the stuff I think kind of stays, and sometimes it sort of helps you look at your work with some perspective, because when you're totally in it, I think you can't see it like with a bird's eye view. So I've always felt that in retrospect, a lot of the stuff makes sense. At that moment, of course, sometimes you're like, oh my God, I put in so much effort and no one's getting it. But I think it's fine. I think it's, the moment you make a film, you anyway, put yourself out there, you put your work out there. So just like the audience reacts, I think the critics have to react too, so it's fine.
But I think it's very difficult to judge कि आपको कैसी लग रही है फिल्म की. इसलिए मैं आपको एक जो छोटी सी मिसाल अपनी पर्सनल बताऊं कि मैंने एक फिल्म बनाई थी, प्यार तो होना ही था. तो उसका जो फर्स्ट ट्रायल हुआ था उसमें करीबन 50 लोग थे, 50 लोग थे, और सबको फिल्म बहुत बुरी लगी थी. और बाहर आकर उन्होंने मुझे ये नहीं बोला कि अच्छी है बुरी है, उन्होंने बोला ये क्या बनाया है. और एक फिल्म बनाई थी वेलकम. तो वेलकम में सारे लोगों को एक ही कंप्लेन था कि यार ये फिल्म में हंसी नहीं आती है. एंड बहुत लोग थे उसमें, मतलब 100 लोग थे. तो जब लोगों को भी हर आदमी का अलग, तो इट इज सो डिफिकल्ट टू अंडरस्टैंड एक फिल्म देखकर कि आपको जो लग रही है आप कैसे जज कर सकते हैं कि हाँ ये बिल्कुल करेक्ट है, ये गलत है. जो एक पल्स की बात कर रहे हैं हम, इट इज सो डिफिकल्ट टू नो. वो लोग कहते हैं कि भाई ये डायरेक्टर बड़ा अच्छा है, इसको पल्स आ गई है. ही इज ऑल्सो नॉट श्योर कि जो फिल्म बना रही है वो लोगों को पसंद आएगी कि नहीं आएगी. तो वो उसका एक जजमेंट है, उसका एक कन्विक्शन है जिसपे वो फिल्म बनाता है. तो इट इज सो डिफिकल्ट टू अंडरस्टैंड द फिल्म कि नहीं यार ये फिल्म को जो हम लिख रहे हैं कि ये माइनस पॉइंट है, ये प्लस पॉइंट है, क्या वही माइनस पॉइंट और प्लस पॉइंट है, या जो शायद लिख रहे हैं ये जो माइनस पॉइंट है शायद वो प्लस पॉइंट है, और जो प्लस पॉइंट है वही माइनस पॉइंट है.
Sorry, bye.
Yeah, I was going to actually ask you to.
Yeah, I know. I just feel like मैं यहाँ पे बैठी हुई हूँ इस पैनल पे. Look at me now. Any person, a film critic जो लिख रहा है, they're coming from a place of love for cinema as an art form, as craft. जैसा कोमल कह रहे थे, हम किसी भी मूवी थिएटर में जाते हैं, हम बैठते हैं उस सीट में, लाइट्स डिम होती है, एंड वी वांट टू फॉल इन लव विद एवरीथिंग यू आर शोइंग अस. आई वांट टू चैंपियन एवरी फिल्म. अगर उस फिल्म को देखने के बाद मुझे कुछ लगता है कि ये सही नहीं बैठा या ये सही नहीं बैठा, तो उसके पीछे एक कॉन्टेक्स्ट है, उसको रीजन दिया जाता है. और ये एक द फिल्म क्रिटिक दैट यू चूज टू लिसन टू, उसमें डिफरेंस यही आपको मिलेगा कि आप उनकी बात सुन रहे हैं और वो बता रहे हैं कारण क्या है उसके पीछे. वो ये नहीं बोल रहे कि ये खराब था, ये गंदा था, 1, 2, 3, 4 सिनेमाटोग्राफी अच्छी थी, एडिटिंग खराब थी, ये अच्छा था, सेट डिजाइन अच्छा था. सेट डिजाइन अच्छा था तो क्यों, जो फिल्म की कहानी जहां जिस शहर में है, एटसेट्रा एटसेट्रा, दैट काइंड ऑफ थिंग. सो आई थिंक दैट्स व्हाट वुड सेट क्रिटिसिज्म अपार्ट फ्रॉम people walking out of a theater singing.
क्यों नहीं आई हंसी, वो जब कोई बैठने लिखेगा 4-5 घंटे लगाकर कॉन्टेक्स्ट में डालकर.
इट्स वेरी डिफिकल्ट आई पर्सनली फील बिकॉज जैसे मैं आपको वेलकम की बात करूं तो मैंने एक तकिया का नाम लिखा था, भगवान का दिया हुआ सब कुछ है, शोहरत है, दौलत है, इज्जत है, बस एक बहन है, उसकी शादी नहीं हुई, अच्छा खानदान चाहिए. तो मेरी फिल्म के साथ जितने लोग जुड़े हुए थे, मेरे असिस्टेंट, मेरे एक्टर्स, उन्होंने कहा कि इतना बड़ा तकिया कलाम आज तक हमने नहीं सुना है. तो हाँ, नहीं सुना है, लेकिन मुझे लगता था, और ये मुझे ऐसा नहीं कि मुझे कोई पल्स पता है ऑडियंस का, दिस वॉज माई कन्विक्शन कि नहीं मुझे ये करना है, एंड मैंने किया. और उसके बाद जो है वो आप देखिए आज इसमें डायलॉग जो है, तो वो मुझे लगता है समझना कि क्योंकि आप जो भी गेज कर रहे हैं वो कुछ मिसाल को पहली पिक्चर में ये हुआ था, ये हुआ था, ये हुआ था, इसलिए ये करेक्ट होगा. वो सेम चीज जो है दूसरी फिल्म के लिए शायद वो रॉन्ग हो सकती है.
So, Anish ji,
Just 1 second, but Raj is being very chup today. This is like,
So I had to use.
so he's promoting the film.
Yeah, I'm promoting the film.
he symbolically, metaphorically, because I'm a critic, I have to use these words. So,
Throw in a
kind of-
pun every like couple of sentences.
Yeah, so
That's what the headlines are, right?
yeah.
Can we chup at this film?
Yeah. No, but I just want to ask you, when you have, when you put out a film, do you stay away from like reviews, or do you actively seek out reviews and look at them?
I think I'm a review junkie. I read a lot and I watch a lot of reviews. Of course, I want them to disappear when the film is not working. Say, I don't want these reviews. Or when the movie is good, I want to read all the reviews. But I save some of it for later. Like she was saying, that I go back and say, why was that movie so bad? What happened? Really, I really loved it, and a lot of people like it. So I go back later on at a better frame of mind to understand what they're saying. For me, why I like reading reviews, there's also another factor. I feel lately, or maybe for a long time, it's also a little bit like an art form. The writing sometimes, or there's an analysis, or just a sentence construction or a certain observation is so good that I want to enjoy reading it. I want to enjoy watching it. In fact, I stop sometimes, call another person, read out a few lines that have encapsulated something very strongly, beautifully, or even negatively. Doesn't matter. Just the way they put it together. So I realize that these few people that I read or listen to or watch, there's a lot of art in it. There's a lot of craft in it. So I give that a lot of weightage. For me, even if it's not my film, other film reviews, I read some of them because I want to see how they're seeing it, and also just enjoy the process of reading it. And about Anish ji, my thing is that there's no avoiding critics. We can never avoid critiquing. So anybody will start tomorrow. Let's say all the critics quit tomorrow. Another Twitter, somebody starts, and before you know, there's following for them. So it's going to be part of film. When there's a film, there's a critique. So I think both go hand in hand, and we love them, we hate them. So we want them on our
You love them when they
posters.
review a film well, you hate them when they don't.
Yeah. So
No, I was just saying that when he said finger on the pulse, I don't have, but मेरा conviction था. मुझे लगता है कि इनका conviction ही वो pulse है. Finger on the pulse वही है. He is not realizing it, but that is what is. It's all about knowing the pulse of the public.